Hello and welcome. I'm a hotel AI expert with extensive experience in modern hospitality operations, and I'm very pleased to welcome all students of Europe Hotel School to your online learning journey. Today, we're diving right into the heart of any great hotel, the front office. We look forward to supporting your professional growth in this fantastic industry. This quote really gets to the core of it. The front office is so much more than just a place to check in, it's the operational and cultural heart of the entire hotel. In this explainer, we're going to break down how to design this vital department from the ground up, starting with a strategic blueprint well before that first guest ever walks through the door. So where does it all begin? Well, it's not with hiring and it's not with training. It starts with planning. We're going to cover the foundational strategy that kicks off a full 9 to 12 months before a hotel even thinks about opening. This is an absolutely critical function led by the Director of Rooms and Human Resources, and it really sets the stage for everything that follows. Okay, next up, let's design the blueprint for the team itself. Now, it's so easy to just copy and paste a standard org chart, but that's a huge mistake. The best front office structure is always custom built. It has to reflect the hotel's unique identity, its size, its target market, and most importantly, the specific service philosophy it wants to deliver to its guests. The first pillar of our blueprint is the transactional hub, front desk operations. This is the team that handles all the core mechanics, check-in, check-out, payments, all that good stuff. But the key here, and I have to stress this is non-negotiable for a premium experience, is ensuring you have 24/7 supervisory coverage. A problem at 3 a.m. has to be handled with the same level of professionalism as one at 3 p.m. All right, building on that transactional core, we've got guest services. This is the team that really adds the personality, that human touch. Think of them as the true conductors of the lobby experience. They manage everything from luggage and transport to those unique, bespoke requests that can turn a good stay into an unforgettable one. And our third key area is communications. This team is often the very first voice a guest ever hears, since they're the ones handling calls and emails. What's absolutely vital here is that they are perfectly in sync with the on-site teams. A promise made during a booking call must be a promise that can be delivered at check-in. There can't be a disconnect. Now, as we're designing this whole structure, we have to consider a core principle called the span of control. And look, this isn't just some boring management jargon. It's the architectural rule that makes sure no team member gets neglected and no leader gets overwhelmed. If you get this right, you build a solid foundation for effective coaching and really strong performance across the board. With our blueprint designed, we can move to the next phase, populating it with actual people. This isn't about just filling boxes on a chart. It's a meticulous process of calculating the exact number of staff needed to really bring that service vision to life. This is always the big question, right? Exactly how many people do you need? But the key here is that the answer should never be a guess. It has to be a precise calculation based on hard data, and that always starts with a very detailed analysis of the expected workload. It's a really clear three-step process. First, you analyze the projected workload, things like check-ins and call volume. Second, you layer in all the real-world constraints like labor laws and peak hours. And finally, you convert all those required work hours into what we call full-time equivalents, or FTEs. Just think of an FTE as the workload of one full-time employee. It becomes the fundamental unit for your whole staffing budget. However, and this is a very common mistake I see in planning, simply staffing for your operational hours isn't enough. Not even close. Why? Because people need time off. You can't possibly guarantee coverage 365 days a year if you only account for the hours the doors are open. This brings us to probably the most important number in your entire staffing calculation. To account for this, you must add what's called a relief factor. This is an additional 15 to 20% on top of your base staff count. Let me show you what that actually covers. So what does that buffer actually do? Well, this relief factor is your planned capacity to cover all that non-productive time. Vacations, sick days, essential training. It is the key to ensuring your team is never overstretched and that your service standards are always protected, no matter who is on or off duty. Okay, so we've got the structure and we've got the numbers, but a truly great blueprint isn't just about day one. It needs to be flexible. It has to account for the entire pre-opening timeline and really set the hotel up for long-term health and growth. This is exactly why hiring is strategically phased. You bring in your leadership 6 to 9 months out to help with all the planning, but the line staff, They arrive just 6 to 8 weeks before opening. This approach manages that pre-opening budget so effectively while making sure everyone is intensively trained and ready for launch day. Now, this brings us to a key principle in modern hotel operations: building a flexible structure instead of a rigid, siloed one. And the difference is stark. One model leads to inefficiency and frustrating service gaps, while the other, it creates efficiency, seamless coverage, and a highly engaged team. It's night and day. The benefits of this flexible approach are really tangible. On a daily basis, it lets staff be cross-utilized during quiet periods. But the long-term benefit is even more powerful. It builds clear career paths. When an agent can see a direct line to a supervisory role, they're motivated to grow with the hotel, and that dramatically reduces costly turnover. So, let's bring it all together. We've designed the structure, we've calculated the crew, and we've built in that crucial flexibility. Let's see how this comprehensive blueprint ensures a flawless, successful launch. Ultimately, this is the takeaway. This level of detailed, data-driven planning is the difference between a chaotic opening day and a seamless one. It ensures you don't just have bodies behind a desk, but a well-supported, strategically sized team that's ready to execute the service vision from the absolute moment those doors open. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Your organizational chart is never just a document for HR. It is the architectural plan for your guest's first impression. Design it with intention, and you'll design an experience that doesn't just satisfy guests, but one that brings them back again and again. So, what first impression will your team be designed to create?